All right, good evening. I guess it's evening here. It's about almost 6 o'clock. But I wanted to jump on here and talk about an article I saw a few days ago um, in the news. And it's quite a disturbing article, especially once you think about what we talk about all the time, which is, going to the food pantry, eating on a low budget, making your money and your meals stretch so that you're not starving. Well, in an article in Law and Crime, and I will put a link in the description, the title is Woman Ends Boyfriend Over Sunday Breakfast After He Gets Upset with Her for Eating Too Much While They're on a Budget. Meaning that this couple, these two people, could not afford to eat. And whatever she made for breakfast, she didn't leave him anything, and it upset him. Now, I don't know if you've ever had an evening where you cooked dinner and that was it. Okay, that was it. Once you portioned out the pot into everybody's plates, the pot was empty. Okay, and then somebody on their way from the counter to the table drops their plate on the floor. There's no more food. So that person doesn't get to eat. I have had meals like that where if I dropped the food on the floor, I'm not eating. And I've lived with people, boyfriends and sometimes significant others, where we cooked a meal and he dropped his food on the floor. So now he doesn't have anything to eat, but I do. Oops. So, in those situations, it can get pretty dire pretty quick. So it's like this situation. Nobody dropped anything on the floor, but she ate her food and his too, and it made him mad. So now you've got someone who's, maybe she's upset that she ate too much food, but now we got a male who's also very angry that he doesn't get any food. So she gets so mad about the conversation that she grabs a you-know-what and finishes him off to end the conversation. That is the wrong approach, people. And we hear it all the time. If you watch some of the preparedness channels and things like that, you probably heard them go, when people are hungry, they're going to get mean. And here's an example in the news today of, somebody was hungry and they got lethally mean about it. So the trick here is, don't let your situation get so bad that being hungry puts you into a homicidal rage, because that's what happened here. Do something about it. That's why I say, explore the food pantries in your area. Figure out which ones you like and which ones you don't. If you're eligible for food stamps, go look that up for your state. It's different for every state. Apply for food stamps. If you have kids, you'll get a higher budget for food stamps. And if you're, there's all kinds of help out there. And worst case scenario, if you go to church and you've been a member of that church, ask the church, can they help you with food for that week? Do something. Don't get so hungry that you do something stupid. We're not at the end of times here. Society has not collapsed. We don't need to be ending people because we don't have food. There is, most of the time, always a solution. And, worst case scenario, maybe you could go to your local restaurant and be like, hey, dude, I am starving. Is there anything you could give me? Anything. And sometimes a restaurant will hand you a meal. Sometimes. I would only do it in an absolute, last resort situation. But I'm telling you, I would do it before I would off somebody over being hungry. So, be proactive. If you see the hard times coming, do something about it before they get there. If you have a huge bill, like I did this winter, long about September, I start thinking about December bills. And I have a bunch of extra bills that are due in December. And that usually has to do with my website that I have to pay for, and my property taxes that if I want to not have my house go to a tax auction, I need to pay them before the end of the year. Technically, I could pay them now and still be all right, but I like to get them done before the end of the year. So I know about those bills ahead of time, and I know that, at least for the last couple of years, my income doesn't cover those extra expenses at all. There's no way for me to budget for them. So I start thinking ahead. And this year I said, well, if I start getting the food pantry about the middle of November, I should be able to take my food budget and plug it into those bills. Well, it turns out it ended up being my food budget, my electric bill, and my gas bill for, 2 months is what paid those bills. And that's called kicking the can down the road. But I didn't starve, and I got the extra bills paid. And that's because I knew what was coming in September. You have to think ahead when your income is very, very, very low. If you know that, let's say you pay your homeowner's insurance once a year and it's in January, and you owe this $800 or $1,000 bill in January. You know what? If it were me, I've got to start thinking about that $800 or $1,000 bill. I need to start thinking about it in about May. Okay, because May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 8 months divided by 1,000. Let's see what that is. So I know that if I start saving for that bill in May, I need to save $125 a month. And that's the kind of things that you have to do when you realize, oh no, I've got a huge bill coming up. Because once you're down so low, we're not talking, oh, I'm so broke because I have $500 left in my emergency fund, but all my bills are paid and I have food in the fridge. Okay, you're not broke. Not yet. I was once talking to a friend on the phone, and she was complaining, I'm so broke. And I was like, I feel you, man. I'm really broke too. And then she starts going into detail. She said, man, I'm so broke. We just got back from the store and I spent $200 on groceries, and we bought 2 video games. I don't know for what game station, but they spent $120 on video games. She got 2 new pairs of jeans for $50 and a new pair of shoes, $60, $75 pair of shoes. And they've got $800 left in their account, and they're so broke. I bit my tongue so hard it almost started bleeding, dude. I mean, you're not broke. If you just spent $600 at the store and you got $800 in your checking account, or maybe it's a combination between your checking and your savings account, and you don't have any bills for the rest of the month, you are not broke, okay? You are not broke. Because if you were broke, you wouldn't be buying nothing from the store. And my situation at that same time was, I had $20 in my account. I was going to have to put it in gas for my car because I had a job I had to go to at that point. I had a $100 bill due, I think, in 2 days, and I wasn't going to get another check for a week, and there was no food in the fridge. I was going to have to beg food from my friends. But this lady was broke. Yeah, my ass. My freaking ass. You're not broke until your emergency fund is gone. You're down to your last $20 or less. Your car is out of gas and you don't get paid for a week, and you have a bill due tomorrow, or they're going to disconnect something. Okay? That's broke. It always amazes me what people think broke are. But anyway, so, just think about it. Stay ahead of your finances. If you feel like your financial situation is changing for the worse, start thinking about it now. What are you going to do now to make it better? Especially, if you're working a job for somebody else and you're like, the vibe is off here. I'm feeling like they're going to do a bunch of layoffs or something, or maybe your boss is being a little harder on you than normal. Take steps to safeguard your finances, like buy cheaper food. Try and put money back while you're still there. Because I had a job like that where you just knew it was going to end. You just knew it was going to end. It wasn't a viable job. It was a churn and burn job where they burned you out and that was it. And I ended up saving quite a bit of money while I worked there. But I was right. It was a churn and burn. They worked you until they couldn't work you anymore, and then they fired you. That was what it was. But, do something. If you feel like things are going to change for the worse, start thinking and planning today. Start buying a little extra food today. Start putting a little money back today. Don't wait until you're in a situation where somebody's going to starve or somebody's going to get so mad about being hungry that they're going to do something terrible. Because here's the deal. You can figure it out in your house, or you can be like this lady. They're going to feed her 3 squares at the jail cell. Bread and water and, what is that, the warden's special where they mix oatmeal with hamburger and serve it to you and call it food? Yeah. So anyway, folks, there's my thoughts for the evening. Stay safe. Make sure you know what your finances are doing, and, make sure to keep yourself fed. It's no fun being hungry. It really isn't. Anyway, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.